Come on, man.
It's... It's...
Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday!
And then you hadn't. All right. I'm still trying to figure out how to make all of these things work and pushing buttons and everything and all that kind of stuff. So, hi, it's a Friday, and it is you and me and everybody, and we got stuff to talk about all over the place. We've got draws that came up in both Europa League and in Champions League. We'll get into that. We'll get into somebody who came by the airport last night here in SDH HD and came back, and there were folks that were welcoming somebody back to Atlanta. If you were there, let me know what the vibe was like. Saw the vibe from our buddy Justin Felder at Fox 5. Morning, Ricky. And morning, Derek. I know. My date is 2 days slow. Oh, crap, it is. I'll be damned. I know. It's like I look at the thing and you're like, my date? Yeah. It's 129. No, it's 131. Genius. Well, let me see if I can do a live edit here. Edit. And no. Okay, because I was trying to see if I could edit copy, update. Oh, no, update titles. Here we go. So update titles. Hang on. All right, so 29:31. Next. And hit next. There we go. Save. And magically, maybe, there we go. Okay. Now, Abby's made it to Florida in the new Abstermobile. Thank you. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Forecard. Good morning. All right, so if you were there, let me know what the vibe was like. We got to talk about what's going on at Middlesbrough. We got to talk because there's some stuff, and we got to sort through it. But yeah, we got to talk about some stuff. So we'll talk about Latte Loth. Mainly, we'll talk about the money, and we'll get into what is being said, reported. It's not news, but it's being reported on the 280 character app, and it's all over the place. Money's all over the place. Numbers are all over. Well, Forecard, I'm going to get into that. Like I said, I want to get into. I don't think it's Burra, but this is going to be a bit of a lengthy deal. So it might end up being in hour 2, so we can go down the rabbit hole a little bit. But there are updates. Ricky's mentioned Cabral, allegedly, reports tying him to West Ham. And Graham Potter seems to be all keen on it. Remember what our buddy Nino Torres said yesterday. If you weren't a part of that conversation, go back, go listen to it on our platforms, on all of our audio platforms, and in the show starting at about the 55-minute mark was when Nino's segment was yesterday when we went fully loaded. So, Nino ain't all that keen on Arthur Cabral. I don't think it's Burra. And I don't know, Michael, if we are bidding against ourselves. And I think Forecard is onto it. Here. So Forecard is looking at our friends at MP Management, agent trying to kill the vibes and take more money. That's where I'm leaning in all of this. Like I said, we'll take all the pieces because it's going to take a bit of a build. And so we'll walk through Middlesbrough and we'll walk through the numbers. We'll walk through the bit with the agent. Remember, we had the talk about the agent and the agency. We had that discussion earlier in the week. We'll go back over that for those who've missed it about where their talent pool exists. So there's a lot to discuss about MP and the agency and the numbers, and I want to walk through it. I want to take the time. I want us to walk through it. But as Forecard has put into the Twitch pitch, this is where I'm leaning. about the agent. But like I said, we will present the evidence. We will present everything that we know, and we'll break it all down. Like I said, I think it's going to be an hour number 2 as we get ready for Atlanta United and Birmingham on the weekend. Remember, ATLUTD.com/live for the kick a couple of minutes before. Not on 92.9 The Game. So Atlanta in Birmingham, and then after that, 7:30 Eastern is the target time that Maddie and I are going to run point, where on Saturday night we're going to be at Monday night. And so we'll have all your post-game there. We'll have your post-game thoughts. Anybody who's still in town that wants to stay, we'll go over to Monday night and hang out for a little bit. Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes is going to be there. Our buddy Kaylor Hodges from the USL show is going to be there. We may have some representation from Legion hanging out with us as well to find out what it's going to be like there in their USL season coming up in short order. So if you're in Birmingham, it'll be great to see you. B, Saturday night at Monday night. Monday Night Brewing. You can Scott Flood and the Flood Project have done some great work in getting everything orchestrated, in trying to make the experience in Birmingham a really cool one. And it's so you're not just driving over for a game and then you're driving back. So it's drive over for a game, maybe hang out for a little bit, hang out with us at Monday Night Brewing in downtown, and then make your way back or spend the night in Birmingham and have a good time. Like I said, my plan is that it's probably going to be, depending on how long of a night it is at Monday Night Brewing and Cafe. I may go to Rojo and pick up some tachos and take them back to the hotel. It's kind of like when you go to Waffle House and you get the order of hash browns and you can get scattered, smothered, covered chunks and top. You can kind of do the same thing involving Rojo and their hash browns. And literally you can have a meal of the hash browns that's attached. So I think it's 4:30 Eastern, Abby. Hang on just a second. I want to double check it. No, that's not what I did. Trying to open up windows and things like this. It's like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. So schedule, we hit schedule. I just want to double check. So it might be a couple of minutes before 4:30 Eastern time that Atlanta United and Birmingham Legion go at it, and it's at Protective. It's not like on any goofy campus or anything like that. It is 4:30 Eastern time kick. 4:30 Eastern time kick, atlutd.com/live. Mike and Jason are there. I know that Maddie and I will be there in SDHness, and we will let you know what's going on while we're there. We'll have the game report up at soccerdownhere.net. We'll get your post game, have that posted, probably do something akin to a full-time report with the cast of thousands that's going to be there. So set your notifications and set your stuff, and however you notify yourself that things are coming up on networks and audio and video and all that kind of stuff. So once again, 4:30 kick on Saturday. ATLUTD.com/live. A couple minutes beforehand, Mike and Jason will be there. We'll be there. And then you can go to Monday night and hang out with us on a Saturday night. So there you go. All right. Then after that, they go to IMG for a while. And they're going to be there for 10 days, playing New England on the 8th. So next Saturday on the 8th. And then FC Cincinnati on the 12th, coming back to Atlanta on the 15th. And they play in a closed-door match against FC Dallas. That one, I believe, is going to be on atlutd.com/live. I think it's on 92.9 The Game. And that one will be on the 15th. Closed-door session between FC Dallas and Atlanta United. So that's the rundown. So, yes, atlutd.com/live. And 92.9 The Game is broadcasting Chattanooga on radio. So atlutd.com/live with Chattanooga, Birmingham, and Dallas. Keep your notifications up involving the other matches with Cincinnati and New England, if they're going to be on the .com/live. So .com/live has the 3 of the 5, Chattanooga, Birmingham, Dallas, and just keep your notifications up for everything else. All right, so the Orlando scrimmage was added. Where was that added? Hang on. Yeah, because I think that was, where was the Orlando scrimmage? Hang on just a second. Orlando City, Atlanta United. And I'm trying to type, and Wednesday the 5th, So Wednesday the 5th on a time that is TBD. So Wednesday the 5th is where that one is. So Orlando's on the 5th, Revs are on the 8th, Cincinnati's on the 12th. There you go. So 5, 8, 12. Third one that got added in is Orlando. So once again, don't know the broadcast plans if they exist for that one. And we'll keep an eye on all of that stuff for the 3 matches that are in Central Florida at IMG after the match this weekend in Birmingham, and then they go down to IMG and go and hang out in Bradenton, Florida. So that's what you're staring at for Atlanta United and the schedule coming up here as we get ready, because we are 23 days away. No, 22 days away from the beginning of the regular season, because if it's the 22nd, then it would be 22 days, and then you add one for today. So 23 days away from the beginning of the regular season. Very, very busy time in Orlando when it comes to Atlanta United. Today at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it is going to be the reintroduction of Miguel Almiron. He's going to be there for the local media 3 o'clock, and keep an eye out for any kind of video that might be live or recycled very, very quickly about the reintroduction of Miggy to the local media, 3 o'clock at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So that's your mid-afternoon plans. And then everybody gets to fight traffic and drive home, except for Abby, who's in South Florida. So that's going on this weekend. And then they'll discuss, plans for getting Miguel Almiron ready. Does he get introduced? Those kinds of things. The window, by the way, for MLS is open today. So anything that might not have been officially official can be announced today, and you're seeing some loan deals and things like that have been announced, and we'll go over all of that stuff with our news and notes in hour number 2, and we will break down all of the things. And let's see. Brian Harris gives me an email this morning. 500 days until the World Cup. We're under 500. June 15th to 26th. And you're going to have a host city poster, and one you're out at 365. And so website and all those kinds of things. So note today, Atlanta is marking 500 days to World Cup 2026. Miggy is 3. At least that's when we were supposed to be assembled. So we'll keep an eye out for all of that, Ricky. But, yeah, 3 o'clock is when we were told Mercedes-Benz Stadium, bells and whistles and serpentina and confetti and all that kind of stuff. So this afternoon, the reintroduction is Miggy and 3 o'clock. It might be. So, Rick, it might be 500 days till the first Atlanta match. Yeah, that might be true because we're under 500 total. So it was, I think, $499 earlier this week when we were at the training center on Tuesday. So $496, I think. So $496, if my math is correct, before the first match. So that's where we are. All right. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. And once again, we'll go through all the things that you need to know when it comes to stuff. I know that that's incredibly vague, but that's just where we are. All right. Now, once again, you can go to our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com to kick off your day. And what you do is you buy out the entire store. And then you can buy out the entire store, but you can do it at 15% off by using the code SoccerDownHere15 when you're checking out. So basically, you could buy out the entire store. They'd be happy about it. But you could do it at 15% off. You'd still have 15% of your money. So like if you spent $10, even though it would be more than that, you'd be saving $1.50. You'd be keeping $1.50, spending $10. And then they, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it, youth games, youth initiatives, our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Also, Olive in York. You can get your SDH jersey. The first ever jersey that we've had in 2025 is in the year 2025. Got to work on my modifiers. And it is a Navy jersey, thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente, Beyond Goals, Soccer for Good, all those things. And the net proceeds go to stuff that we have earmarked here in 2025 to help out and continue to grow the game. But Olive in York, you can get the SDH jersey. Kaiser Permanente on the front. You can either have on the Navy jersey, you can have either white lettering, white letters and numbers and personalization, or like light blue, Carolina bluish kind of thing. So you could go Carolina blue on Navy or white on Navy. Go to Olive in York, and you can get that all squared away. with your SDH jersey, the first ever that we've done there. Now, you can also go to our store at soccerdownhere.net, and you can take stock of everything that we have in the store. And we do have the newer things in the store, and I know that there are some of you that, and as are we probably need to reorder some things. But you can go to the store at soccerdownhere.net. You can also look at all of our old our old writings and previous writings and shows and things like that, and links and all that. Soccerdownhere.net is where you can go on the news and information side and get all your SDH gear. I know that I've had this for years, the retro lettering, and there's even talk about maybe reissuing some of this stuff, but we'll keep an eye on that at soccerdownhere.net. Also, soccer is just better in Atlanta. Our friends at Grady Baby Co. And what you can do there, you pick that up. You can get it in the red. You can get it in the black. And it helps out with your purchase, either T-shirt or sweatshirt. It helps out the advancement and the improvement of middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public Schools and just the growth of the programs in general. So Grady Baby Co. Soccer's just better in Atlanta gear. The sweatshirt's awesome. Sweatshirts for me, I like them baggy. I like all my stuff baggy so people can't see how fat I am. And what you do is you get something, and I'll get like a double X because A, my laundry skills are awful. And B, if it shrinks, then there's still some room. But I like baggy anyway. And so our friends at Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. Do a really comfortable sweatshirt, and it helps out middle school programs involving Atlanta Public Schools. So there's that. And then also our friends at the Marshall Islands, which reminds me, I have to send the scarf to the fan in Canton. And it's on the other side of this wall. So you can get your, and as Soccer for Good OG was wondering about bucket hats. Yep, you can get bucket hats from the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. Go to their store. You'll see Maddie and her campaign with the scarf and helping out our friends at the Marshall Islands. You get that from me. The scarves and the jerseys and the bucket hats and all that kind of stuff, you have to send money to England, and Matt Webb, our buddy with the Federation, sends you a package from there, and our friends at Player Lair. Scarves come from me. So if you want a scarf from the Marshall Islands Soccer Project, you buy the scarf through the website. Matt sends me a note. Hey, somebody has on your side of the Atlantic has sent a thing, an invoice. Mail them a scarf, and so that's how the circle of life works involving the Marshall Islands. So Marshall Islands scarf, Grady Baby Co., Olive in York, soccerdownhere.net. And go to Monday Night Brewing and Monday Night Pub and Restaurant on Saturday night for Atlanta United post-game reaction. Tyler's going to be there. Kaylor's going to be there. Maybe some Legion folks will be there too. And it'll be a fun weekend in Birmingham as Atlanta has match 2 in the Ronnie Dyla era in the preseason. All right. That's opening kickoff. Bang. There we go. Whatever is on your mind, go ahead and line it up in the queue, and we will discuss the return of Miguel Almiron. Like I said, 7 minutes. If we get a visit from our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring, since they are indeed traveling the planet, we can find out what is on their collective mind. So if we get a visit coming up in short order, I didn't want to start a topic and then have to dump out. So like I said, when we're done, if our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring join us at 9:30, then we can catch up with them. And then at 10 o'clock, we can get into Emmanuel Latte-Lath. We can get into Cabral, get into the news, get into the numbers, get into the reports, because the reports are goofy. I mean, the numbers, frankly, are all over the place. And I want to sort through them, and we'll go over who is sending out these reports, because once again, this year and every year, every window, check your sources, check your sources, check your sources, because there's some weird numbers out there. And yeah, Ricky Yamil Assad did post a note saying goodbye to Cincinnati. So I saw that out there as well. So, and, we'll keep an eye on all of the transfers, because there have been some. NYC has made a transfer of one of their young players, and we'll go through all of the news and everything to get you ready for the weekend. But as kind of a coda on opening kickoff, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And I wanted to discuss it for a new round of stupidity down here, and we have to recycle the clock. And it was in the AZ Alkmaar match and it was crazy. So you had in the AZ Alkmaar match, and AZ Alkmaar in the past has been fined. Fans tried to storm an area where West Ham fans, you remember that in the Europa Conference League, they got fined $68,000 for that one. Apparently, in their matchup in Europa League, and I want to get the numbers of what happened in the matchup in Odds Portal. It was crazy that you had rival fans dressed up as stewards to try to get into fights. I think legitimately this is the first time that I've seen something like this, where in AZ Alkmaar they advance. They're going to play Galatasaray, and that's going to be in a couple of weeks. But in the AZ Alkmaar match, let me see if I can find who was Ferencvaros. Okay, so AZ Alkmaar and Ferencvaros. Let me see if I can spell Ferencvaros quickly. So AZ Alkmaar Ferencvaros 4-3. It was nuts. It was absolutely crazy. They both make the Europa League. But it appears that Ferencvaros fans decided to dress up like stewards and try and get into fights. Ferencvaros, and this is from posted reports. Ferencvaros ultras disguised themselves as stewards to fight with the AZ Alkmaar fans. Security, and this was in Budapest. They had security in there for the first time in 10 years. So Ferencvaros stewards, AZ Alkmaar fans. So that's being, and it was just nuts violence. But anyway, I think we might have hit a new level. The stewards getting dressed as stewards getting into fights with fans, and the wording might be a little, tongue in cheek, but it was intriguing nevertheless to see AZ Alkmaar and Ferencvaros getting into it yesterday. If you've missed the morning espresso, I would recommend that you catch up with that because it gets into the shorter news involving Atlanta United, news of the day, those kinds of things. We do have our new matchups, by the way, in Europa League and in Champions League. I want to get into the Champions League because that might take a little bit of time too. But Europa League, AZ Alkmaar, Galatasaray, Porto and Roma, Fenerbahce, Anderlecht, Ferencvaros and Victoria Pilsen, Midtjylland, Real Sociedad, PAOK Salonika, FCSB, Royal Union and Ajax, and Twente and Bodo Glimt. That's going to happen on the 13th of February. Champions League matchups. Yeah, Man City and Madrid again. Who knew? Brest and PSG, and this is on the 11th. The 11th is going to have all the matchups. Celtic and Bayern Munich. Bayern a big favorite already. We're 2 weeks out. They're already favored at a -294. Club Brugge and Atalanta favored. Feyenoord and AC Milan favored. A lot of road dogs. A lot of road favorites. Juve at home favored against PSV at a -120. Manchester City actually favored at home at a +129. Considering form, Manchester City a +129, Real Madrid a +190. Your draw is a +263. Monaco hosting Benfica at a +129. Benfica's a dog there. And Sporting hosting Dortmund at a +120. I don't know. Sporting at a +120, hosting Dortmund at a +209. Your draw is a +259. So that is your round of 16. Your next 16 teams going up against each other, and then they screwed it all up because then from there you got to have another drawing and figure out, okay, what's your path? You get 9 through 24 figuring it out. Then they reorganize the thing, and it's like, well, we don't know who you're going to play next. Basically, is what they're doing. We're gonna juggle it up all over again, and then we're going to let you know what it looks like. Could be Liverpool, could be Barca, could be Lille, could be Aston Villa. 1, 2, look, just do it this way. Look. Brest and PSG, and it's like literally it's the 15 and the 18. It's not even the 16 and the 17 yet because we don't know. Just line it up. Absolutely, I know. Madrid's a dog. Yeah, on the road. That's literally, Ricky, you look at this and it's like Madrid, a plus 190 going to Manchester City, draws a plus 263. That one's sitting right there for everybody. But they still have to figure out who you're going to play next. Brest and Paris, you're 15-18, which really needs to be the, if it's the you need to just reseed this whole thing. It's like, all right, Liverpool or Barca is going to play Brest or PSG. The 7 or the 8 is going to play the 9 or the 20. The 5 or the 6 is going to play the 11 versus the 22. It's going to be either one or the other. Just line it up. Just line it up. The winners in the 9 through the 24. You reseed it. Lowest seed goes and plays the highest seed. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, people. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of logic, and I'll bring in our next guest and find out about this whole logic thing. Cap, am I being illogical, just wanting logic when it comes to the Champions League? It's like an either or. You get 15 of the 18, and they're going to play either the 1 or the 2. It's either you're going to eat the mashed potatoes or you're going to eat the green beans. It's not like, look, you're going right at the meatloaf. Am I wrong here?
I don't know, John.
I'm getting one of those scanners headaches just trying to figure out what the Champions League is trying to figure out, man.
Yeah, it seems like, sometimes you just got to keep it simple.
Just keep it simple. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly.
I mean,
they need to go back to the basics a little bit here.
This is what I'm saying. All right. So, and speaking of back to basics, the Beatles had a lyric, "Get back to where you once belonged." Talking Heads, same as it ever was. Dude came into the airport last night. I don't know if you know this, but a dude came to the Atlanta airport last night, and there were a lot of folks that were there to meet him. I don't know if you know this gentleman, but his first name is Miguel, and he's here in Atlanta. Have you had interactions with this gentleman in the past on any level? What can he bring to Atlanta United? Do you know this gentleman?
I think we all do. Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be exciting. It's exciting for the team, obviously on the field. Bringing what he brings to the team, but I think just as important, it's going to energize the fan base. And I know that there's been moments the past few years where things have peaked up and the crowds have been good and stuff, but I want to get back to that normal sellout crowds, crazy atmosphere, even if it's a Wednesday night game.
Hey, man.
And Miguel is going to help bring that back.
Now I have a question to you, sir, and I don't know if you can put any light on this. There was a picture posted to social media, and the gentleman looked a lot like you. And this could have been you. It could have been a doppelganger. It could have been someone masquerading. I don't know. Someone maybe doing a late Halloween thing. And it was someone who looked a lot like you, looking into a mirror. And you had a jersey that had a name on the back of this particular gentleman. How long did it take you to get that jersey? Were you allowed to order that from MLSshop.com like 3 weeks ago, and you were being just prescient, or did you hit the FedEx button on this one? How did you get your intel, sir?
Man, I'm old, but I'm not that old where I still have a hookup here and there. And so, a package arrived in the mail. It had a little special gift. And I thought, you know what? I should probably share this with the world.
A package just showed up on your doorstep. It's like, oh, wow, look at this. I think maybe this might be cool to wear. Okay. So the man got the hookup is basically what happened.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And to be honest, John, I'm not like a jersey, snob, and when I put it on, I didn't even know it was in New Jersey.
Oh, because it has like it's the black stripes go all the way up to the shoulder blade and everything like that. It's not just cut off; it goes all the way up into the shoulder blade and the stripes this year.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw the stripes and the name on the back and everything like that, and that's all I was focused on. And then I saw some of the comments about saying it was a jersey leak, and I was like, "It is."
I'm the most excited to see how. I mean, obviously, at the airport, he's literally signing every single autograph that was asked of him, and that's his gregarious nature.
Mhm.
But I am intrigued to see how different a player he is 6 years on.
Yeah,
How what the experience in the Premier League has given him internally and externally. We know that you can still shoot him out of a cannon, and good luck catching him when he slams it into fifth gear. But I'm interested in seeing how he has continued to evolve. I won't necessarily say mature because he's still, running around like what. But I'm intrigued to see how 30-year-old Miguel Almiron will be here in Atlanta with the game that he has evolved over the last 6 years.
totally. Yeah, same. I think that we've all seen him play a little bit over in Europe, and he has looked the same as he did in Atlanta. Just rubbing off tackles, just flying through people, running around, busy and dangerous. And I think that's what we expect. And I don't think anybody really quite knows the formation that we're going to play. And there's a lot of pieces now to the team, and we've got a lot of attacking options that it's going to be interesting to see how the gaffer gets everybody on the field and how he lines everyone up, and what the responsibility is, because Miguel had a lot of freedom under Tata, right? Especially when we were playing in that 3-5-2-esque, it was like a 3-6-1 basically, where Miguel could kind of roam and do as he pleased and go wherever he wanted. And, that suited him obviously really good. Defensively, he did what he needed to do. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how his game has evolved, and does he do a little bit less running and use his brain a little bit more? That's what tends to happen when you hit your 30s, right? But I think in counterattack situations and on that turf, there's nothing scarier than Miguel running at you. So I'm excited to see that.
What was it like having him run at you in practice?
A nightmare. Because not only it's like, oh God, how am I going to keep up with this guy? But at the same time, you're like, God, I don't want to follow him and hurt him. So yeah, it was tough.
When it comes to, and I want to get this to the mentoring aspect of things. When you have someone who comes into a situation and he's the new kid, it doesn't matter what you know about him, what you might know, what you might not know. Do you have conversations with your mentees about being the new kid at school, about being the new kid and what it's like to try and integrate and be a part of the team while still trying to learn on the field what you want and be a part of the whole vibe off the field? Do you have those conversations with your mentees?
Oh, definitely. On both sides of it, right? Because you've got the players that are a part of the team that are welcoming in a new player, and then you've got the new player who's joining a new team. And so we talk about both of those aspects because they're both important. And everyone that plays any sport for a while will be in that situation on both ends at some point. And, and only then do you realize how difficult sometimes it can be to be the new person, depending on the environment that you're walking into and depending on who you are as a person, right? It's for some guys, it's so easy because they're loud and open and so confident, and they just walk into any locker room and you feel like, wow, this guy's been here forever, but then there's other people who are much more shy and quiet, and how do they find their way? So yeah, we absolutely do. And to those types of people, to the first type, it's pretty easy, right? We have to tell them like, hey, know your role, don't go stepping on anybody's toes in the first couple of days, even though you want to play with that confidence. But it's more the other players of like, okay, how can you find one player or two players that you can bond with and get to know, and then slowly integrate yourself more into the team, not feeling like you have to be best friends with everyone on the team on day one, because that's daunting and that's challenging. You know, and then on the reverse side, right? How can you be a welcoming teammate? Because it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And you know, if you've got the confidence that you're going to be able to keep your place in the team, and that this new player isn't going to kick you out of the starting lineup or anything, there's no reason why you shouldn't be welcoming to a new player.
But then for the player who's coming into the situation, you don't want them to overcorrect. You don't want them to lose what got them into that situation that they're stepping into, because I would imagine at times there's the player who's coming in. It's like, yeah, I want to make the right first impression. I want to be the player, but at the same time, I don't want to step on any toes, and you know, I don't want to upset the chemistry that's already here. So I would anticipate that's a delicate balance in trying to figure out your plays, not mess up what's there, and continue development. It's like three things working at the same time.
Yeah, and to that, I would say don't worry about stepping on toes out on the field, right? You go out on the field and you do everything that's got you this opportunity and got you there, and you don't worry about anything else other than going out there and being you and playing as best as you can and as hard as you can and working as hard as you can, right? It's more off the field of like, you know, being cognizant that you're the new player and helping out and having a good attitude, and, you know, not being so brash in the locker room and things like that, you know, settling in a little bit. But on the field, we definitely try and tell the players, you know, hey, have that confidence. Go ahead, get in there. Other players need to figure out who you are as a player, and you need to show them from the get-go, this is who you are. So, you know, don't be timid, don't be shy, don't be afraid of, like, oh, if I'm going to go take somebody one-on-one, yeah, I'm going to do it. And if they look silly, then that's on them and they need to get better, right? But, you know, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do me. And that's okay. It's more off the field, I feel like, where you can make more of an impact.
How were you as the new kid in school?
Quiet. Yeah, shy and quiet. So for me, it's easy to talk to those players because I was one of them. You know, I saw the other people that were the other way and how they could integrate really easily. But for me, it was like, no, I'm going to chill out here on the side. I'm going to take everything in, you know, learn kind of the ropes a little bit, figure out who I want to buddy up with and who's a little bit more, you know, like me and like-minded. And, you know, we'll go from there.
Are your mentees more like you, or are they more gregarious going into their new situations from what you can remember off the top of your head?
I'd say it's 60-40, more open, more willing to put themselves out there and, you know, not care or just have that confidence to go out there and, you know, be them in any situation, which is good.
Is that generationally different, or is that just, you know, part of what goes on the field where you're going to have one of two personalities come out there? I didn't know if this particular generation or the mentees that you're dealing with are geared toward one direction over another, whether they're more gregarious just naturally or they're more quiet naturally in the 60-40 mix, or is it just something that is more game state more than anything else?
Yeah, well, I think athletes in general tend to be a little bit more confident than non-athletes, as far as like in a school, and that's what I was kind of talking about. So obviously the mentees are all athletes, and so, you know, I think maybe that tends to lead towards them being more confident going into certain situations. So it's kind of swayed a little bit based off of who we work with.
What did you think of training camp when training camp came up in general? Were you excited about new seasons? Were you like, oh, man, it's training camp and we're going to go south and we're going to tour? What did you think of training camp when training camp popped up every year?
Mostly excited. The only thing I wasn't excited about was fitness and fitness tests. But no, excited just to get going again and to get to know the new group, you know, and a fresh start. And I think that going away for training camp is really nice because you get to bond with guys. And when you're in a hotel and you're away from home, you just bond with guys more differently than you do when you're just around them, for 5-6 hours at the training ground and then go home. So it's just different when you're having your meals together and you're doing other things off the field together. You get to know each other a little bit better. And, I think that's important bonding for any team. So I always looked forward to those things. And I liked getting away with the guys and, getting into nicer weather.
So your mentees, I don't think they have training camps where they go to like IMG or anything like that most of the time. It might be 99% of your mentees are staying at home and they're with their teams, with their clubs, what have you. When they're going into these new environments, it's the first day of school, first day of club. Do you have conversations with your mentees about preseason, about new environments, about new seasons, and how to respond, or do you just let them do their thing and get more feedback coming back? It's like, well, yeah, I've started with this new club and A, B, C, D, and E. Do you have information going in, or do you get more information from them coming out once they're in itself when it comes to integrating?
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation of the player and if they are going to a new club, like you said, if they're hanging out with their old club that they've been a part of for a long time, and what their situation is, and also how the previous fall went for them personally.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are they coming off a great fall and hey, let's keep that momentum going, or hey, this is a fresh start, right? New season, let's recharge, let's set our goals, and go from there. So definitely dependent on if we've worked with them before, how they did last year, and what their environment is that they're going into. So we try and take that all into account.
So when you have a mentee, say, that had a great last season, and they're coming off a great postseason, whatever that entails, my mentee had a great postseason. We had a great last season. Put that in quotes. And then you have a mentee that didn't have a good last season.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going into a situation this year that either could be that you hope is different, more optimistic. How do you steer a mentee coming out of a bad vibe toward a new season and try to flip that vibe around? What are those conversations like?
Yeah, well, I think the first message is the same to both players. Like what happened in the past does not guarantee the same for the future, right? Both good and bad, right? We've got an opportunity to either continue that or to change it, and that is on us, and we have that onus on us and that power to change things that happened, right? If we create good habits and we go out there and we have a good mindset and we put the effort and we want things to change or we want them to continue and we don't get complacent. And so, I think that goal setting is a big one for players that have gone through a down period, and setting smaller goals, right? How do we, yeah, of course, your goal might be to start for a team, right? Maybe you came off a terrible season, you didn't play that much, right? I want to be a starter. Well, that's great. But what are you going to do to become a starter, right? How do we have these small little goals so that each week you're saying, hey, I did these 5 things this week to get myself in a better place to become a starter. And, that's what we try and really focus on is like, okay, control what you can control, put yourself in a good situation, continue to develop, and everything else will take care of itself.
How hard is it to convince a mentee about controlling the controllables? Because that has been an underlying thing with you and Greg ever since I think day one,
Mm-hmm.
and all of our conversations here on Fridays. I would think that mentees and that particular age group and that particular demo, it's all about the instant gratification, the instant results. If something didn't happen, it's an extreme. It's either I did really great and the world is fantastic, or I had a bad day and everything stinks. How difficult is it to have a mentee focus and understand the controllables message these days?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. I mean, and it's not just for young mentees, right? I think for all of us,
Yeah.
it's right. We all stress sometimes about things that we can't control. We're going to stress about what the weather is going to be like and how that's going to affect plans, or this, that, or the other thing, right? We all do it, so it's challenging. And I think that's the more that we're able to help them just focus on 1 or 2 things and slowly change that habit and the mindset of what are we thinking about on the way to a game and what aren't we thinking about, or on the way to training, right? I think that can help. And so then we start to get the buy-in a little bit. So yeah, it's tough. It's not a, hey, this is what you should do, so go out there and do it, and great. Right? It's a constant challenge.
How you look at the adjustments that you have to make with mentees on a year in year out basis. How many adults do you have to have conversations with about controlling the controllables? Because to your point, you're like, yeah, the weather impacted our plans and we couldn't do this, or we're snowed in. What do we do with the kids in the backyard? Or, what do we do to keep them busy? Oh no, the power is out. We're really in trouble now. How are we going to navigate these kind of things? Do you have conversations with parents or adults in general about controlling the controllables?
Yeah, my wife really appreciates those conversations.
Can you please control the controllables here? Dinner's ready in 15 minutes. Is that a controllable? What are we controlling here? But everybody's running around. Everybody's in the backyard. Dinner's in 15, but we're halfway through. 15 minutes. It's control the controllables. Yeah, I could see those conversations with the boss.
Yeah. But probably not as many as we should with some parents. Some of them hear the things that we talk about with the mentees, so hopefully it gets through a little bit, but not as much. And honestly, I found, John, that the more we've done things, the more parents are not involved in the sessions. And I think that's mostly a benefit, which I'm pleased about. Even younger players, right? We'll work with like a 10 or 11-year-old, and parent is like, gets them set up in front of the screen, and okay, I'll let you guys do your thing. So it's actually more rare that the parent sits there and listens and is part of the conversation. Oh, you just had a hat fall behind you.
Whoa, no, we can't have that.
Yeah, on the left side.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I'll pick it up when the show's over.
So yeah, not as many conversations as we probably could and should with the adults.
So, I get the idea of having an adult, let the kid, have the session with you, and the parent thinking that it's about on the field stuff or whatever. It's like mentoring, and it's only part of the equation. I'm trying to. Have you ever thought about just saying, "Hey, okay, I need to have it's like, you're cool. This week I want to talk to your parents," or having separate mentoring sessions, but not necessarily call it that. I want to mentor a parent. No, but have you thought about having separate conversations just as asides with parents or anything like that? Just kind of pull them off and sit there and go, okay, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what I think I'm seeing from you. Tell me if I'm wrong, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's a good shout, John, because I don't think that we do that enough. I think every now and then, and it's usually only if it's something big, or if the parent asks, in an email or something, hey, what's going on? How's it going? Type thing. But we probably should honestly do it more often. I guess it's a time factor, and we don't want to use up a session, that could be with the kid, with the parent, but we need to figure that out. That's a good show, because I do think that we could provide more information back to the parent so that they're getting it as well and can stay on top of some of the things that we do at the airport. I just was reading what Bart wrote, what we do in the sessions.
You had sessions at the airport.
Yeah.
But to your point, and I wasn't even necessarily thinking like during session time in general, because there are parents, and we've had these talks in the past. You and Greg and I have had these talks where the parent is adding to the issues and not contributing to the solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I was like, well, how do you pull a parent aside, be diplomatic about it, and have them understand, okay, I'm seeing this from the outside.
Yeah.
I'd like for you to look at this from the inside and see if we together can help move everything forward into a positive, and try not to sound like a jerk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I did have one interaction with a family recently, and because the dad wrote an email saying like, oh, I sent you these videos and my son said you guys didn't watch them. Well, the dad had prefaced it that the kid didn't play well. I watched some of the videos. The kid didn't play terrible. We didn't play great. So we talked about some of it a little bit, and I didn't feel like it was necessary to, like, show him all the bad clips and go from that, especially when we're dealing with confidence issues.
Yeah.
To which the dad wasn't thrilled about, and let me know about it. So yeah, I had a email exchange with him, letting him know about, hey, this is how I work and this is what I see. And I didn't say, the kid asked me,
Yeah.
hey, what game are you talking about? And the mom from the background was like, the game you sucked in.
Wow.
So I was like, geez, poor kid. The kid laughed. So they had obviously talked about it. And
that's a defense. I think that's a defense mechanism, or at least it was for me in the past. When your parent jams on you a little bit, you laugh it off as a bit of a defense mechanism. But that's got to sting, man.
So I definitely wasn't going to show the video after that and talk about it and kind of pound it in. So we talked about it, just in general, when you're playing well and when you're not playing well and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely a situation where it's like, okay, there's things going on here that, hopefully can change in the broader picture and not just with the athlete.
Another couple of minutes here with Michael Parkhurst, at MF Parkhurst on the 280 character app, at BG Mentoring, Beyond Goals Mentoring, and BeyondGoalsMentoring.com, where they're getting into video and they're doing all kinds of different things here as we get into 2025. And I'm looking forward to seeing how things continue to evolve. As how old is BGM now? 3?
Yeah, it's over 3.
Okay.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, we started at 2.5 years.
Okay.
2.5 years, and we got a brand new challenge coming out. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. I don't even know when. I think it might be today.
Yeah.
So we were talking about goals for the new year and resolutions and things, and then that hard 75 thing became really popular online. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it's a challenge. Basically, we've got different categories, and within each category, you need to like drink a certain amount, get a certain amount of sleep. You need to do
good luck on that. I'd fail.
Work out for X amount of time, whatever.
Fail.
So we're putting together one for youth athletes where it's like, okay, here are some different categories, and here's some options within each category. So you make the challenge about you, right? Do you drink 0 water right now, and your goal is to literally drink 1 glass of water each day? Or are you pretty good with hydration and you want to drink, half your body weight in ounces, which I guess is what you're supposed to do.
Wow.
So we've got different little categories and selections within each one, and it's just something to do for 30 days, so that we are setting a small little goal, a challenge each week. That, hey, can we do it? Can you do it together? And so something for them to hopefully challenge themselves with, push themselves a little bit, and just get used to having a small goal that we feel like, okay, we're getting better each week.
So basically what you're telling me is that I'm supposed to drink somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 liters of water a day?
That's what science says, John, not me.
Just checking, man. You just like half your body weight, half your body weight in ounces. And so I'm sitting there going, okay, this morning I weighed in at this. So that means, damn, that's a lot of water.
I know. That's what I think, too, because I'm like, how many ounces are in this glass?
I know. just grab like the big 2 liter at the Wawa or something and just bring it to the house. Bart, I think the reason that Cap wasn't at the airport last night is because he's in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a little counterintuitive unless you has a private jet. Unless you're a PJ flyer and can just hop into the airport.
That'd be nice.
And hop on a PJ and come down to see somebody signing things at Hartsfield. So obviously, my guess is you were probably invited to the housewarming party when they get settled here in town. I know that there's a thing at 3:00 this afternoon, and it's going to be in a press conference setting.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to PJ fly down for that at 3:00? You going to welcome him back wearing your jersey?
No PJing for me. The only PJing I'm doing is the clothing.
Smart man.
Yeah, that starts early on a Friday around here. We call it Parkhurst sweatpant time, and on a Friday, that's definitely around. Actually, we're speaking to a high school, Greg and I, later today at 3:30, I think. So PJ time is going to start a little bit later.
Okay, all right. Well, as always, my friend, it's great to catch up with you. Find out the latest about what's going on at Beyond Goals Mentoring and the Friday Free Kick, and the signing of some dude. that you've got his jersey and that you kit leaked and you got to get him to sign the jersey now.
I'm gonna give it away soon.
Ooh,
Yeah,
breaking news.
I'm gonna give that away here probably.
Nice.
Yeah, within the next week or two.
Okay, so we'll figure that out. As always, my friend, great to see you, and just be safe, have fun, and enjoy the PPJT, Parker's PJ time, after the mailing later this afternoon. Be good, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Have a good weekend.
All right, there goes Parky, and Cap. Cap ain't messing around. Speaking of Caps, actually, let me fix before we get into Emmanuel Latte Lot. Let me find out what the hell happened here. Was it two of you? It was. Girondin Bordeaux. Yeah, my Bordeaux hats fell. Remember when we were, and they go right there, and that's not going to happen until after the show is over. So 2 Bordeaux lids fell. We got to fix that. All right. Hour number 2. And as always, thanks for dropping by. We're going to give a bit of a preview with Birmingham as we go here later in hour number 2. But let's get into the Emmanuel Latte Loth deal. And I mean that both figuratively and literally, where we're talking about everything going on involving the transfers. Now, Ricky mentioned it in the Twitch pitch early this morning. Actually, tell you what, let me say hi to everybody first before we get into the news, and we'll find out what's going on with everybody this morning. Okay, so morning, Derek. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Emilio. Ricky, fan base is crazy. I love it, no doubt. Morning, Abby. Morning, 4Card. And thank you for reminding me about updating the dates and things. Yeah, we'll get into Burra. We'll get into Burra 4Card. Ricky mentioning Cabral to West Ham allegedly. We'll get into that. Michael is like, are we bidding against ourselves in this ELL deal? I think we kind of stood firm at the number. And I think that you're bidding against the agent. Like I said, we'll get into the details of this, and we'll walk down each lane of traffic here coming up in a bit. But I think that 4Card is on it. I think it is keeping an eye on the agent. And so we'll walk through all of that stuff. So morning, Alex. Miggy Presser is at 3, and it is in the press conference room. So there definitely would not be any room for anybody to go, and go and be in the stands or anything like that. So it's not on the field. It's in one of the press conference rooms. So let's see. Morning 4Card. Yeah, Greg alluding to last week when he was with us. There might be other dudes coming back. Ricky needs more hints and mentioned Yamil Assad. Let's see. Yeah, Patrick Parkey's post did break the internet. There's a jersey leak that he didn't know was a jersey leak, but he's got people. Will, yes. Emilio, morning to y'all. Yeah, there's more stuff about the agent. And morning, Bart. Abby, I don't know why Mountain Dew's not on the list. And Ropes, I'm with you. I just kind of have it here to have it here, It's just kind of like here as a part of it's like a set prop at times. So, okay. Morning to everybody, and thanks for dropping in, as you always do. Now, so here's your updates on your things. Now, Ricky had mentioned Arthur Cabral. And right now, it looks like, and like I said, here's what the reports are saying. It looks like Cabral, and this is multiple folks, networks in Portugal, and newspapers. Cabral looks like he is linked to West Ham at 18+2. Looks like it's 18+2 according to Record in Portugal. And they're one of the newspapers, and they've got 421,000 followers on the 280-character app, if you want to look at it that way. So you're looking at 18+2 for Cabral. Al-Akhli has gone another direction. They went to Glenn Kamara. So Kamara out, heading one direction. And so the pivot, now you have the rumor with Cabral and West Ham at 18+2. So Mirror and everybody is sitting there and staring and going, okay, that's what you're looking at. So The Mirror is saying 15 plus add-ons, and you have others looking at 18 plus 2. Ollie Watkins has told Unai Emery he wants to stay at Aston Villa, $40 million bid. Emery, fresh from offloading Jean Duran from Al Nassr for £77.5 million, has confirmed that Emery is not coming. United looking at Giovanni Kenda. We've talked about him in our conversations that we've had involving our buddy Nino Torres and the Portuguese League and Ruben Amorim and everybody. So you're looking at 18 plus 2 or 15 plus add-ons right now, depending on who you're talking about. By the way, Thiago Almada has a new head coach. It's Paulo Fonseca. That was announced this morning as well. So depending on what you're looking at, 18 plus 2. And a lot of folks are going back to the report from Record the Record newspaper in Portugal, 18 plus 2. Some folks are saying 15. So Cabral, and once again, remember what our buddy Nino Torres said about Cabral yesterday, that he ain't too keen on him. But the number for Cabral to West Ham is anywhere from 15 plus to 18 plus 2. So that's what you're looking at with Cabral. So Ricky being the intrepid producer. Emil Assad wasting no time going to Cuiabá in Brazil. So that's out there as well this morning. The Emil Assad sweepstakes. So Emil Assad to Cuiabá this morning. But so right now, through December of 26, so it looks like it's a 1.5-year deal for Assad. Now, with everything that we have talked about involving Cabral and Emmanuel Latela, here is where we are. Morning, Badger. No movement, but that's where we are. That's where we are right now. Your timing is impeccable. There are reports out there, and they're all over the place. I have seen anything from 20 plus 2 to 20 plus 8. That's what I'm saying. 20 plus 2 to 20 plus 8. The 20 plus 8 one to me is an outlier, and it is someone who has followers who is tied to someone who has a lot more followers, if that makes any sense. The number that we've been looking at is 18 plus 2. So let's look at the characters here in the play and kind of look at things. So let's start off with our friend at Teesside Live. We'll start with our friends at Teesside Live and our buddy Craig Johns, who wrote an op-ed for our friends at the Gazette. Craig's been very, very busy. Headline: Emmanuel Latela's sale is a risk Middlesbrough simply have to take with striker close to exit. Craig is the Middlesbrough beat writer for Teesside Live. Here's what Craig wrote this morning, and it was an op-ed for those of you that missed it. Emmanuel, and I'm going to paraphrase and dip through some sentences. Latela appears on the verge of a Middlesbrough exit. On Thursday, an agreement was finally reached with MLS side Atlanta United for the sale of Borough's star striker. Having already completed his medical, there aren't any expected hiccups to stop the transfer now taking place. A £22.5 million sale represents a record fee received for Borough. What they got for Adama Traore to Wolves sees the club turn over a huge profit on the Ivorian, who was bought for a little over £4 million just 18 months ago. Johns continues. Make no mistake, though, it's a risk, a big one, you might say, given what's potentially at stake, selling your top scorer midseason while locked in an intense battle to reach the playoffs for a shot at promotion to the Premier League. With 29 goals since his arrival from Atalanta, replacing Latela is not going to be easy. Put quite simply, though, it's a risk that Borough simply have to take. Ultimately, that's the model, and that is dictated by the cruel financial landscape that is the Championship. Signing players like Latela, developing them into better players to make profit, is ultimately part of the plan to get Borough's finances back on track. And he mentions Brentford and Brighton. At the start of the month, Johns continues. Burrow released their financial accounts, which covered the period through last season. They highlighted the importance of player trading and the fact that money brought in on player sales will be invested back into the squad. The club made an overall operating loss of over 12 million pounds over the year-long period. Over £1 million a month, let that sink in. The accounts showed the club made 19 million pounds on player sales, and despite projected losses and the fact that Steve Gibson put in a further 13 million pounds to ensure the deficit wasn't even bigger, then they spent 18 million pounds on buying players. Within that 18 was the money they spent on bringing Latte Loth to the club. Fast forward to this season. Such financial information won't be available until next year, but what we can safely predict is that without this Latte Loth sale, Burrow were highly in the red. Without any major sales in the summer, they continued investment in the squad with big purchases such as Aiden Morrison, Tommy Conway this month, as well as bringing Ryan Giles back on loan, adding Mark Travers until the end of the season, turning George Edmondson's loan into a permanent switch. They've also splashed an initial £5 million on signing Morgan Whitaker. It's not complicated maths to work out that a £22.5 million offer just cannot be turned down. MLS is an ever-growing league. He's about to earn life-changing money, which he cannot be begrudged for. To his credit, throughout the whole saga, he's never once downed tools or not given his everything for the Burrow cause. Alas, at his age and with recent achievements, an MLS move feels underwhelming to say the least. Disagree, Craig Johns. That's ultimately not Burrow's concern, though. Their focus quickly turns on an adequate replacement. Without one, Burrow's massive investment in their squad could be for nothing in the short term at least. Okay, so that is what Johns wrote this morning for the Gazette and Teesside Live. So because of this, I would say that Middlesbrough wants the sale. Knowing their finances or lack thereof, Middlesbrough wants this sale to go through. When you've got £22.5 million staring you in the face and you have the operating deficit and challenges that Middlesbrough have, Middlesbrough's going to sit there and go, bruh, sign. We love you, but. Morning, Harry. So in this, I would say that Middlesbrough is not the issue. Middlesbrough sees $22.5 million slid across the table by Craig Henderson and Garth Lagerwey. They're like, ooh, this could really help us out. Atlanta looks at Emmanuel Latte Loth. They've got a figure that they've kind of stuck to, 18 plus 2, 20 to 22 and a half. That's the range that we've seen, euros to pounds and things like that. And once again, Atlanta United is not just in this one lane of traffic. We don't know what we don't know, but the European window only has 4 days left. The Saudi window actually closes today, just for reference sake. So 4 days left in this window. Expect everything to be chaotic over the weekend. Keep an eye on who plays and who doesn't. Atlanta United has sat there and said, hey, look, and they've stood fast with that number. 18 plus 2 reported on this side of the Atlantic. 18 plus 2, 22 and a half. We're all right in there. So if Atlanta United, while they're trying to look at other folks, and they might have to look at other folks quickly if they're not already scouting other folks because of the issues that have been going on, and you could tell they've been looking at because they've been linked with other players. But they may have to boogie on a deal in the European market over the next 4 days with everyone that they're looking at and Emmanuel Latte Loth. They've got to boogie on all of these things and keep an eye on it over the next 4 days. I imagine that over the next 4 days, Chris Henderson, Garth Lagerwey, and the front office at Atlanta United are not going to be getting a whole lot of sleep. This afternoon, do not be surprised if video comes out of this press conference and you see a lot of dark circles under the eyes of Craig Henderson and Garth Lagerwey and anybody from the front office. So that lends us to the agent. And this is where I am leaning in this discussion about the issue in getting this over the finish line. For whatever reason, our friends at MP Management, they don't think that's enough. They don't. And this would have to be a conversation had with a particular agent attached to a particular player. What's the issue here? What's the problem? So the agent hanging out for a Premier League deal, bruh, what's going on? And if you look at his, if you look at the agent's Instagram, he's in Italy. Everything that we have seen news-wise involving Emmanuel Latte-Lath has been coming from Italian sources to start off with. From Italian sources. So it's been looking at this agent, and now you have fans who are attached to Middlesbrough who are looking at Matias Veneroso at MP. It's like, bruh, what's going on? So I'm leaning toward the agency here being the issue. I know that we have seen reports about Latte-Lath and his interest in, generational money and all these kinds of things. All these separate things we talked about. I don't think it's the player. It's definitely not the club. And Atlanta United has been at the table kind of sitting and going, all right, here. So I'm leaning toward the agency being the issue. We have a club that needs the money, and they've invested and they've had dudes, come in and throw more money into the issues in the championship. Like I said, Atlanta United's been at the table. That's one lane. They're interested. Middlesbrough needs the money. Middlesbrough sees $22.5 million or $22.5 million. They're like, ooh. After investing $4 million to get him from Atalanta, that's a big turn on investment. Player, seemingly interested. That's lane 3. So that leaves the agency. That leaves MP management as the folks who are the agency for Emmanuel Latte-Lath that are quickly having patience lost from everybody and anybody attached to Middlesbrough. So, and Michael mentions the agent works for the player. Agent needs to get this done and convince, and if it is lane 5, where the agent works for the player, I mean, this has been a meteoric rise in fee for Emmanuel Latte-Lath. Like I said, we have mentioned before, and we'll mention again, MP management has 2 players of market value, according to Transfermarkt, that are above £1 million or €1 million. One is Nicola Savona, a 21-year-old right back who plays for Juve. The other is Emmanuel Latte-Lath, because of his time at Atalanta. Moved to Middlesbrough. So you're looking at all of these things that have been pieced together. In all of these different lanes of traffic. And something is holding this up. Something is holding this up. Something, someone, what have you. So that's what you're staring at with all of these things. So all these different lanes of traffic, I figured I would present the evidence. But like I said, I'm leaning toward the agency here, trying to get that Premier League deal. Why Middlesbrough would not be interested in selling, considering their financial situation, is beyond me. That has been out there as an idea. But trying to get that Premier League deal for your client, and you're not even in England to do it, you're in Italy, your client is in England, playing in England, and you are in Italy supposedly taking offers and listening to folks. So that's where we are in all of this. Couple days left, so we'll see where we are. But I think at 3 o'clock this afternoon and beyond, you look at Chris Henderson, you look at Garth Lagerwey, and you'll see a lot of circles under their eyes. Yeah, Miggy's, yeah. And Michael, to your point, yes. To Michael's point, Miggy has an agent. Miggy wanted to come to Atlanta United. Miggy's here. And it was also a situation where Newcastle was like, go find a home. And so it's like, you find a home. Almiron's like, and Atlanta's interested. Okay, so Newcastle has Miguel Almiron on the outs. Call on line one. Atlanta United. Hey, Miggy, would you like to come back? Okay, yeah, sure, we'll figure it out. You're not seeing any of this, yeah, we'll figure it out, from MP and Middlesbrough trying to figure something out. I'm sure Middlesbrough wants a deal done. But we have seen reports that have been off the rails today at 20+8. I have never seen in my life an almost 50% add-on for anything. Anything. So Michael Carrick, within the last half hour, has had his press conference, quoting him getting ready. Emmanuel Latte-Loth came off injured last week. We're seeing how quickly he's going to be fit. Until there's anything to report, we'll work with the players and prepare for the next game. There's always a plan surrounding the balance of the squad. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes to come out of the transfer window in a good place. That's Michael Carrick as of about 25 minutes ago. So that's what you're staring at involving Emmanuel Latte-Loth. So keep an eye on all of this. Like I said, keep an eye on all of this. All right. That's where we are. Anyway, okay. So 18+2, 18+7, that's all over the place. And spinning plates. Let me see what Northern Echo has to say really quickly. Dominic Shaw, 2 hours ago. Latte-Loth set to complete his £22.5 million move to Atlanta United. Signing a striker, the obvious priority. Burrow's recruitment team are calm and confident. 3 to 4 potential targets still very much alive. Strelic was the one from Slovan Bratislava, I think was the one that was linked. Burrow having carried out extensive groundwork. Reports at the weekend, Strelic has been keen on the move. Cameron Archer not on their radar from Leeds. So Northern Echo is leaning into the £22.5 million deal. $22.5 million seems to be the number. But the weird one, like I said, 20+8. So Burrow says yes. And this is, so Burrow says yes. The player and the agent, is it a situation where the player and the agent are sad that it's not a move to the Prem, considering you're coming from Serie A to the championship? Now, is it Latte-Loth saying yes and the agent wanting more of a piece of the check since it's not the Premier League? And we try to figure out what the options are going forward. But I saw this morning Luca Bendoni was the one that was the one that was off the rails. So Luca Bendoni, who has ties to the Gianluca Di Marzio plan, had 17 million fixed, 8 million in add-ons. Latte-Loth yet to approve the transfer. Parties waiting for his decision. 10% of Burrow capital gains from this deal go to Atalanta. So, and this goes from Tommy Scoops and Nizar Kinsella. But literally, I have never seen a contract offer that had basically 50% markup on add-ons. I've never seen that before. So the Bendoni report, and that's what I'll use. I'll use it as a report. So Luca Bendoni reporting 17 plus 8 in pounds. Like I said, I've never seen 25 and 8 of it being add-ons. I've never seen that before. So keeping your eye on 20 to 22 and a half. This 25 with 8 million in add-ons from Bendoni is out there off to the edges of the bell curve. So hold that kind of like we do the 3 and the 4 letter paper. So that's what you're looking at the moment. I'm still leaning into the agent, the agent that is trying to do things from Italy with a player who used to play in Italy who's now playing in England in the championship. So anyway, like I said, that's me. That's what I'm thinking here. Keep an eye on the agent and all of those. But the agent is as detached as you could be, one end of Europe to the other. Doesn't seem, I mean, yes, I know we can do things electronically, and I know we can do things a bunch of different ways these days. But the fact that he's not in England with his client trying to get things done, who knows? But this would be the home run shot for MP, considering that the 28 other clients have a value of 23 million euro when it comes to MP management. So, all right. Atlanta United, Birmingham. Let me start here. Yeah, the agency and is going to end up shooting themselves in the foot. Like I said, 2 players above 1 million euro in value. One of them is Emmanuel ATLUTD. The others are right back at Juve. Well, no, I mean, a lot of cash for someone basically currently on the IR. Like I said, we don't know the seriousness of the injury, but he had his medical done apparently overseas. And like I said, we don't know the seriousness of the injury, but you would also, if Atlanta United were concerned, they would have pulled out and you would know it. They would have pulled out of this deal. I think if Atlanta United were concerned, then they would have pulled out. Remember that while Middlesbrough is in season, Atlanta United still has another couple of weeks. So even if there was a concern about treating Lattelat, if he were to come in, treat him lightly on the side, you still got a couple of weeks. If it's not a concern, it's not a concern, and we would know that it's a concern by no longer being interested in the deal. Once again, you've got until February 3rd. Big Ben goes at midnight, local time, February 3rd, everything's over. So there's going to be a rush this weekend. We'll get into all the news and notes and who's moved and who's looking at as we go. Now, Atlanta United, Birmingham. I want to know what's on your mind when it comes to this match other than everybody healthy. There was a conversation that was had among Jason, Maddie, and myself. After the match in Chattanooga. And Jason asked what he was looking for. He asked me and Maddie what we were looking for coming forward for this matchup in Birmingham. And this is the adjustment that I have to make sure that you guys can hear it, is that I have to move my headset so I don't blow out my own ears. So here is the conversation. Jason asked, okay, what are you looking forward to? What are you anticipating? What would you like to see with the matchup in Birmingham for Atlanta United Birmingham Legion? Here is that conversation that we had courtesy of the Full-Time Report and Off the Woodwork podcast at 92.9 The Game of the Post-Game Show after the matchup in Chattanooga. So here's what we were anticipating, what we'd like to see coming up tomorrow.
I ask Mike, I'll ask you guys, and we'll start with you, John.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to see be better next week? One thing that you want to see improve from right now to Birmingham next Saturday.
Not as much back passing, not being afraid to engage in the play and go forward, because it seemed like there were times where, okay, I think we need to preserve possession, so I'm going to pass it backward and go all the way back to Brad at times. We saw that as a part of an outlet to preserve possession. Go ahead and go forward and see what you can do when it comes to what you're trying to learn with this system from Ronnie Dallas. So for me, it's advancing play and moving forward instead of going for that back pass and necessarily being, and I'm going to go ahead and use air quotes, being safe with your activity.
That's the step forward in what we were talking about with build-up, from doing the drill and getting the understanding to executing it and getting out of your defensive half, out of the build-up phase, into getting forward. Maddie, what about you?
I think mine would be kind of picking back off of that, but to me it would be, I felt like there were a couple of moments, especially in the plays, just getting closer to goal, getting into the box and trying to get a shot. It almost felt like it was too many touches, almost like it was, you see the opportunity, you take it and see what happens.
You want folks to be a little more unselfish?
A little bit.
Or I mean more selfish,
I would agree, because there were a couple of moments where, Luke Brennan had a great opportunity, but instead took a couple extra steps to then try the cross in. But I felt like he had a good opportunity to maybe just bring it inside and maybe trying a shot himself. I thought there were a couple of moments, but I mean, to me as well, I think it's about building a little bit more of that trust. And I think that's something that they talked about this week, especially on Tuesday and Thursday. I think you're seeing the blueprints of it. You see a lot of those combinations that we did see and how the trust is there. I mean, you see it too with a lot of the guys from the twos. They play together a lot. They already have that trust. They have that bond there. A lot of guys from the first team, they've played together a little bit. Sleesh and Jay, they've played together all season long, so they have that connection. I think it's now just about building on top of that and getting a little bit more of that trust from everyone around you and being comfortable and trying to connect and not being afraid to maybe take it yourself, maybe picking out a couple opportunities where, hey, you know what, maybe the right opportunity is for me to pass it up to Saba on the right and then we go. I think picking your moments and then also knowing when I need to step back and being like, hey, I need to make this extra pass to go. I felt like it was a little bit of inconsistent sometimes and a little bit of like almost trying to do a little too much to try a pass that
And this is what happens when you're trying to do multiple things. So, Jarrett, that was post game with Atlanta United and Chattanooga with me and Maddie and Jason about what we want to see in Birmingham. But let me go back. We've been kind of breaking down each lane of traffic involving Emmanuel Latte-Lath. Atlanta United, Middlesbrough. We went over Middlesbrough's finances when the op-ed piece from Craig Johns this morning over at the Gazette. Then it's agent, Latte-Lath, and anybody else that they're chasing after, knowing Atlanta United's over in lane 5 at the same time that they're in lanes 1 through 4. Where are you right now when it comes to trying to get this particular striker, this particular individual, and get this over the line to have this pickup for the Five Stripes here with Emmanuel Latte-Lath? Where are you mentally? Get it done, damn it.
Get it done or find something else.
Oh, so you're in ish or get off the pot mode?
Yeah. I mean, it's dragged on for so long, and it feels like, yeah, man, it just feels like, it feels like it's being dragged out intentionally by possibly multiple parties.
Mm-hmm.
You're waiting. You're waiting for everything to come to fruition in terms of other offers coming in, which sounds like West Ham will be one of them because apparently they're in on Cabral. So
Yeah.
Everything is just connected in its own little weird way, but like no one else is really making a move right now. And maybe they run this up to the 11th hour to try and get as much money as they possibly can out of it. I don't know. I guess my thinking on this personally is that he's still 26 years old, I think.
Latte-Lath, let me check. I think he's 27, but yeah, that ballpark.
Yeah. So maybe he feels like this is his shot to make it to the top flight in a top 5 league. And that if it doesn't hit, then it doesn't hit. But the problem is now if you don't hit on this.
Yeah, 26, you're right. January 1st, 99. So turned 20.
So he just turned 26.
Just turned 26.
The thing is, man, like if you miss on this, like let's say they don't get this deal done for whatever reason, it falls apart, and you don't do anything, man, it's especially with the injury he just picked up.
Yeah,
like there's no guarantee you're gonna get, no guarantee you're gonna hit that number again, and especially imagine Middlesbrough doesn't get promoted.
Right.
They brought people in.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't take this money, it feels like it's risky, like to turn down. I know the last report was like £18 million. The totals have fluctuated, and then some people this is the inconsistency of the world, because some people report the total and some people report the total guaranteed and then the escalators and incentives separately. This is a similar issue we have in every sport here. I mean, we had this with in the NFL where they talk like that deal was worth $400 million. Like, well, yes, it was if he hits every single possible thing. Like the Kirk Cousins deal, it was really easy to
delineate what was what.
Yeah, it was really easy to like screw around with it, you know. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the way to put this. It's really easy to screw around with the numbers and to make them say whatever you want them to say.
Right.
It's kind of the lies, damn lies, and statistics kind of thing.
Yes.
I want the deal done. That's where I'm at with it.
Yep.
The end.
Yep. So coming into
to Bart's question,
yeah,
no. I like TRA as a backup player. I'm a big fan of Jamal TRA. Jamal TRA has not shown me that he can stay healthy.
Yep.
And stay on the field.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even trying to be mean, man. That is.
No, that's the number.
Yeah, he has not shown you that he can stay on the field. And that is not a reliable player. When he is out there, can he ratchet up goals? Absolutely. Yep. He cannot stay on the field right now.
And you're looking at that particular position right now as Jamal, Togashi-san, and the 9 that you're trying to chase. And if you have Miggy, if you have, say, Miggy, your 9 that you're chasing, and Saba, and you know that Saba and Miggy are going to do their thing and they're just going to like float and go free or what have you, in theory. Then you've got your midfield of Click, Sleesh, Fortune, Miranchuk, and whomever else wants to dive into that pile, and your back line of Hawkeye and Derek Williams and Noah Cobb and Efra Morales fighting for minutes, Matthew Edwards fighting for minutes, Stian Gregerson and Ronald Hernandez. I mean, you look at that attack, that 9, you get that 9 in place, and you're going to be, the anticipation is that there's going to be a lot of goals scored with that front 7 at the very least.
Yeah. I guess my thing is this continues to drag on, like, why we got Miggy across the line at least. Came into the airport last night, did the whole thing. You've been negotiating with them, though. You didn't pull the plug on this.
Right.
You didn't pull the plug on Cabral. So somewhere along the line, you must have believed that you can get one of these deals across the line.
Right.
Something has led you to believe that this is doable. If it doesn't get done, I look forward to finding out where it broke down.
Right.
Was it the agent? Was it the player? It sounds like it wasn't Middlesbrough, because up until this week, I would have thought Middlesbrough could have sat on it to try and ratchet up interest, but now, like, as of this week, like, especially the second half of this week, they can't afford to wait.
No,
because window's closing.
4 days. 4 days with the European window.
Yeah, and then MLS kicks open.
Yep.
Still really dumb to me. Like, I don't know why we don't change the MLS window. Well, I don't know why our window technically, our window doesn't sync up better. Just because it puts some of the European clubs in a weird spot, in an understandably weird spot where they're like, I don't want to sell because now I can't. After the third, I can't bring anyone in.
Right.
It's like Middlesbrough up until this week, it would have made sense for them to sit on it.
Yeah.
To try and get a Premier League team or 3 involved. But doesn't look like that's happening. So they got to, if they're going to sell, if they think he's going to go, they got to move now.
Yeah.
But if he and the agent sit on it, everyone might get screwed. Because if they sit on it long enough, like Middlesbrough, and they take it, Middlesbrough's not going to have time to go get somebody.
Right.
or negotiate. They're going to have to overpay for who they want, which they'll have a bunch of money, so that's nice.
Yeah. Well, but that bunch of money may not be a bunch of money considering they're running at a deficit and they've had folks invest to try to keep things afloat. That 22.5 will go a long way. I just wonder what, they're looking at Strelic from Slovan Bratislava. I just wonder what the number is there.
You wonder if that's on like a standby, like, hey, when this moves, that moves. These two are connected, kind of thing. But yeah, man, it's gonna be weird, like because it also could hinge on the player and the agent trying to get more money, or thinking, we can we're going to go to the Prem. That's what we're going to do. And that kind of level of call a spade. It's it's kind of a little bit of hubris there of like, and firmly believing in yourself that you can be that guy to get up to that flight. But if no one comes calling for you, what are you going to do?
Yep.
Also, what happens if you struggle coming back from this injury, and you don't produce?
Yep.
What if you don't see $20 million again on the offer? So there's a limit for Atlanta. Like, Atlanta threw their eggs in this basket. Still don't know what happened with Kyogo and Celtic. That one's still very weird to me.
I know you're still looking at that one.
I'm still looking at that one because he went to Rennes with the Aston Villa game in hand for Celtic. Like, he apparently something about that was like they didn't overpay that much to get him immediately. Like, I'm surprised he didn't stay for the last Champions League game for Celtic, because that Celtic Aston Villa game had weight to it for everybody. Something. I'm guessing something weird happened there. It feels weird. But you threw a lot of eggs in this basket, and you threw your weight behind trying to get this across the line. If it doesn't happen, both clubs and the player might be in a weird situation coming up, man.
Yep. And we are joined in the Friday free for all by Bart Keeler, who's all right. Well, speak. No, it's not there.
He's not a dog.
There. Well, but no, we had issues last time with Bart, and so it's I don't know what's up with Bart and his Bart may just have to. I don't know, dude. I don't know what's going on. Last time Bart was here, he literally in his studio setting, like he is now, was not able to talk, and I don't know why. And so literally, well, I heard something. It's like you're switching. I know what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to take Bart and like do something offline. Like when we're off the air, we're going to have to figure out, okay, Bart, what the troubleshooting is, because we can't hear you. All of your conversations that you've been having on the YouTubes, off the YouTubes and the Twitters, I can't hear you. Nothing.
And while he figures that out, to Michael's point, what if he comes here and struggles due to injuries? It happened with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You're betting on productivity. Like, Gigi didn't have the kind of injuries that he had before he got here, and then they started popping up, and you were like getting those muscle injuries where it was like he could go 75, 80 minutes, and then he was like something was kind of sideways with a tendon or a muscle or something another. Like, here, it's always a risk with every player. Like, every player could develop those injuries. You want a more recent, or not more recent, I should say, an older reference, but one that hits close to home for people.
Sure.
Go look up the Transfermarkt game log for Tito Villalba.
Oh, yeah.
When he left Atlanta, when he was healthy, he produced. Yeah. He was not very healthy.
Yeah.
And it was little injuries. It was muscle pulls. It was like those kind of things you're like, oh, that's going to be reoccurring. And then he finally got healthy and towards ACL. Now, I think he's gone to Peñarol.
Yeah, I think that broke yesterday,
I think. So he was going to go to San Lorenzo, back where he came from originally before he came to Atlanta, but something fell through and he's going to Peñarol. But some guys will be healthy, and then they will just hit a weird part, whether it's age or whether it's just bad luck, whether something weird happens and injuries just hit.
Free agent, 1-year deal, Peñarol, and he's supposed to sign it today.
Like sometimes injuries just hit, man. It's weird. It's hard to predict. So Derek, sounds like the AA player wants to move. The agent's holding things up. Could be a situation where the player dumps the agent at the end. Maybe we don't know. It's going to be interesting watching how it unfolds because you're getting reports from Give Me Sport. You're getting reports from I don't know if they're fan blogs out of England, out of Middlesbrough.
Yeah. That's why traditionally I'll try and go to what Craig Johns is saying out of the Gazette as a baseline.
You're getting a lot of crosstalk about who's the onus on to get this done.
Yeah, and that's the key. No, and Michael, to your point, Michael's not a fan of fighting to sign an injured player. So, I mean, and
I get it.
Yeah, I get that too.
And I think some of that frustration, if you're Atlanta, was if we could have just gotten this done when we wanted to get it done, he wouldn't have played in that game.
Yeah.
You would have had him on the plane here.
Yeah. But Michael Carrick has been one to sit there and say, player wants to play, and I'm not gonna say no because he wants to be here and fight for a promotion. Round 2. What's going on, Bart?
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I figured out the problem, John.
What?
And
me?
Let me tell you this. No, it's not. It's not you or me.
Oh.
It is the corporate world refusing to allow me to use the microphone on my computer. So I had to change computers completely.
So are you're using the business computer with the studio setting?
Not anymore.
Well, but I mean when you were trying initially.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So studio setting, link to your corporate overlords, and they're like, not today, fam.
Yeah.
So I think okay. So
yeah.
It is a bit of a Friday free for all, and I know that you are corporate busy. But so what is on your mind here with 20 minutes to go here in the show? What lane of traffic did you want to get into this morning? Crystal Dunn. We haven't talked about
we started
her.
Talking about strikers for Atlanta United. Well, we should talk about Crystal Dunn and Jenna Niswanger, both getting moves over to Jenna to an island off the coast of Europe, but Crystal Dunn official to PSG. But I was, we were talking Atlanta United strikers, and I just had an overwhelming sense of anxiety about if they were going to be healthy or if their pinky toe was going to somehow become disconnected. So
right. But
Crystal Dunn,
the Crystal Dunn picture.
I don't understand this. I'll be honest.
Okay.
Getting to PSG for almost 200,000, I think was the final number from Gotham. I think I get it from you want to keep playing. I don't know if PSG would be where I would want to just continue my career. I'm getting out of the country for the next 3-4 years, but this is another example I've been saying all along, John. We have talent in this country. We have talent. Women's soccer in this country is not short on talent. The women's national team, not short on talent. And a lot of European teams understood that for a while, but for some reason, there just seemed to be some sort of blockade. But now that they're willing to spend just a tiny bit of money, John, they're able to bring in players like this. And I think for Crystal and Jenna, they're kind of on opposite ends of their career. Jenna needed, I don't know if she needed a move from Gotham, although Gotham seems to be a place that no one wants to be right now. And I think she saw Arsenal / the WSL as a great chance to play in a league that I think fits her skill set a little bit better. She's not big. She's a tiny little thing. So maybe go into the WSL, she can play in a league that's a little more conducive to her skill set than the NWSL. But with Crystal Dunn, I'm still good for her. Hopefully she's getting that bag. I know there's probably some sort of family decision making going on there to move to Paris, but PSG a good club to be at, so that's positive.
Yeah. I will say this. What are you doing when we are off the air? Let me ask you that. Are you doing more businessy things? Do you know yet?
Sure.
Well, because I also want to. I want to troubleshoot your corporate. I want to troubleshoot your corporate overlord problem. That's why I'm asking. So separate thing.
Well, then, yeah, let's figure that out off air.
Yeah. So off
Yes.
air. So
Yes.
I know that the Crystal Dunn, you have the Crystal Dunn transfer, the Jenna Niswanger transfer. You've got other transfers inside the WSL. You have the 1.1 attached to Naima Girma. Let me ask you this, and I was going to ask you this on Monday, and we could probably expand on it a little more on Monday. Not everyone, but
here I'm sure to get into on Monday, John.
Yeah, that too. But when it comes to, and I know, Alex, yes, I'm going to troubleshoot it. Yeah, I know. It's just like, yeah, that's a good idea. There is a train of thought that these egresses outside of the NWSL are going to present an issue for the NWSL when it comes to them and their talent pool and their league. All of this American talent going overseas. We don't necessarily have these discussions when it comes to the men's national team. Oh, wow, the men's national team has players going overseas and they're playing overseas. But when the women's national team does it, oh, the NWSL, oh my God, the world's on fire. And it obviously is an indictment on the NWSL. How, when it comes to what you've been hearing, how much of that have you heard versus, nah, fam, this is really good for the NWSL when you have these players who are here and they're women's national team players and they're going to Europe? It's a good thing. How much have you heard it's a good thing versus, oh my God, the world's on fire where the NWSL is concerned?
I think first thing is the world is not on fire for the NWSL because I think when you look at the moves this transfer window specifically and a couple from last year,
yeah,
it's not a huge exit. So that's the first thing. It's not like you got half the league leaving. You also have reciprocity. You have a lot of players from Europe or other nations coming to NWSL. The real issue is what I'm seeing and hearing, and this is kind of the fear with a salary capped league, which has the most talent available and is in the best women's soccer country, is that you're going to run up against the fact that because NWSL has some transfer spending caps, just like we do in MLS, right? We have that in NWSL. And so specifically when you're looking at Crystal Dunn going for, what was the number, 1.5-ish, basically is what it comes down to. The question is, 140,000, sorry, 140,000.
Yeah.
Is that a number that an NWSL team wants to spend to get her from Gotham? I think Crystal Dunn is a very good player. I think everyone does, but she is 32. So that's just where we're going to run into these questions and problems, in my opinion, with NWSL. Now, with Niswanger, I think this is more of a personally, I think this is just she wanted to go to, I think it made sense for her to go to Arsenal, a team that maybe isn't going to use her primarily as a left back, first off, because they have a left back. I mean, Arsenal has Katie McCabe and Emily Fox, so
yeah, she's
they're particularly we're not like hurting for outside backs. She has some history playing some other positions, but when you look at Crystal Dunn, and I think probably this is really true for Naomi Girma, is the transfer fees that they're going to command, because especially in Girma's case, she's the best player that's playing soccer right now. That's just my opinion, but it's backed up by the fact that she's the best player who's playing soccer right now. She was not going to get that number from an NWSL team. So that's the problem, John. It's not, this is NWSL is going to be bad at soccer. Again, there are how many Division I college programs out there, John?
A lot.
300.
There's a lot.
To find more players. Yeah, I mean, it might be. So, obviously, there's not a Girma or Dunn that comes out every single year, right? But you can find replacement level players, and then go find starting level players to backfill what you just lost in Gurma or done from the talent available in NWS in the US. But then also NWSL's a lot of these clubs, because of the mechanisms, are able to go get a player who might not be as expensive, maybe from Europe, maybe from Australia. And so you're just not, it just comes down to pricing, and NWSL kind of has a net transfer cap is basically what it comes down to. And so if you're gonna, if you're San Diego, a team that is trying to reinvent itself after inventing itself.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The 1.1 million now that you have to play with in your net transfer is really helpful. So for Gotham, getting 140, 150, whatever that is in American dollars, that is helpful. But again, were you willing to pay Crystal the money that she was going to need to stay? Because I'm sure she still demands a good chunk of money. PC's willing to pay not just the transfer fee, but her salary. So it just comes down to that salary cap is eventually going to not be the demise of NWSL. I do think that salary cap is going to be a little bit of a problem with keeping the best players here, or getting best players to come here. Again, I think if you are looking at these clubs individually, Gurma leaving San Diego sucks for San Diego. I don't think that necessarily makes them better or worse, because they were already in a bad place.
Yes.
Gotham seems to be having some individual problems in that locker room. They've lost several players this offseason from the super team they built. So it's not a mass exodus, John. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. But it is going to be a problem when you look at just the financials. And eventually they're going to have to figure out how do we adjust that. After, by the way, they adjusted this like last offseason.
Yes, absolutely true. Latest for Soccer for You, SPOD. What's going on?
I will have an episode to you today, because I got to finish editing it, which is what I was going to do on my lunch hour. And that is covering what we just saw last window with the two friendlies, and kind of, again, looking. We did hot takes, cold takes, and kind of threw some water on some hot takes and gave our what we think are cold takes. Maybe they're hot takes if you listen, and you can determine that for yourself. I mean, I don't think it's a hot take that Walker Zimmerman isn't quite ready for USMNT action again. I love him. I don't think that's a hot take.
Yeah.
So that type of stuff.
I think. Okay, so when we're over, I will text you, and we will get to the bottom of your corporate overlords invading your computer. And you'll be back on Monday to talk about Denver and the NWSL and other NWSL type things. And reffing down here, you'll be on at 10 o'clock, and we'll talk about the things. All right. Thanks for crashing in on a free for all. And as you always know, like I said, anything going on, you're going to crash because Crystal Dunn signed, and you're like, oh my God, I've got to talk about things. Bart, well, I will see you offline in a little bit. Yeah.
I hope you have a wonderful Friday. The smile is back in Atlanta, so be happy this weekend.
There you go. Smile's back, and so on multiple fronts. I'll see you in a little bit, my friend. And there he goes. All right, so that's Bart. All right, now let's run through what we know, from where we know it, and how do we know it. All right, so let's go through all the moves. By the way, the Crystal Dunn transfer was a free, and so she played between Chelsea 17 and 18, won the WSL, and played in Washington, Courage, and Thorns, left Gotham on Tuesday on a free. So that's the Crystal Dunn departure. Now, let's get into who's moving, and where they're moving to. And we'll go domestically first. Laurel Failer had a report about signings for FC Cincinnati. Gilberto Flores, U22 player on contract through 27, options for 28 and 29. Pat Brennan at the Cincinnati Enquirer says that the fee paid was $2 million, but Laurel Failer reporting on that as well this morning. So looking at things domestically, the Armstrong move to West Brom did happen. So Vancouver to West Brom. Also, Jovan Mijatovic is joining Leuven on loan until the summer from NYCFC. So club record signing. And it looks like he is heading on loan to Leuven until the summer. So CFG want to keep him, pushing for a loan with no purchase. They are still high on his talent, according to Tommy Scoops. All Caps got a bid from FC Copenhagen for Roman Berkey, according to other published reports, and those including Farzam Abal Hosseini. And bid was rejected. Final year of his deal is where Berkey is right now with All Caps. So Berkey being chased by FC Copenhagen, no was the answer currently. Also, let's see if there's anything else that has happened this morning. Once again, we talked about Jean Duran yesterday. The transfer fee now for Chicago Fire, full value, $30.7 million. $30.7 million. So that is big for them. And obviously, we're going to be keeping an eye on Emmanuel ATLUTD and what's going on involving Atlanta United. 4 days left in the window. Skipping to our buddy Ben Jacobs. It is Leicester's Will Alvis joining Cardiff on loan. Ipswich confirming Luke Wolfenden, a new 2.5-year deal. Unai Emery says Ollie Watkins wants to stay at Aston Villa. Quoting Emery this morning from his press conference, the commitment of Ollie Watkins with us is huge. Some players prefer to leave and some accept to stay here and commit with our challenges. One of them is Ollie Watkins. He's happy to stay here. We ask him how he's feeling every day and year, and he is happy here. He is being pursued for a great deal of money. Arne Slot mentioned on Mo Salah's future, everybody wants him, including us. We want him to extend. That is clear. I'm not surprised Saudi want him, but I wouldn't be surprised if other countries want him as well. And that's just the quick quote. Ipswich confirmed Wes Burns suffered a torn ACL against Liverpool. He's out for the rest of the season. That's a big loss for Kieran McKenna as they're trying to stave off relegation. Barcelona confirmed Gavi has signed a new deal keeping him at the club until 2030. A €1 billion release clause. That's just like saying, you know what? We don't want him to go. So you know what? We're going to put down a $1 billion release clause. I mean, is it just me? Or is that just damn ridiculous? I mean, literally, that's just damn ridiculous. Just saying. You know, like I said, it's a $1 billion release clause. Just cause. That's like me saying, okay, literally, it's like if I owned a club, hey, do you want to sell your club? You really do, but you don't. You if the number's right, you can sit there and say, yeah, I'll sell my club. It's like if I owned Nelson FC. The only thing missing is Ted DiBiase coming into the room. Everybody's got a prize. Ha, 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 ha. And he's got the money belt, you know. He comes out and he opens his jacket and he's got the wad of hundreds, you know. Everybody's got a prize. Ha, 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 ha. Gavi, a €1 billion release clause is a part of the deal. Sure. What the hell? Al Nassr's second bid for Mitoma from Brighton was €90 million. Brighton's like, nope. Everybody's got a price. Ha, 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 ha. Mitoma, they don't want to sell him. Multiple approaches. Mitoma doesn't want to go. Al Nassr threw up $90 million to Brighton. Brighton's like, nah. Dorgu is going to fly to Manchester on Saturday to undergo his medical ahead of the move from Lecce. Lecce have named Dorgu in their squad for tonight's match against Parma. The move will be set to be completed after the match. Forest forward Joe Gardner has joined a League Two team on loan. The 19-year-old is going to get some more reps there. Galeno set to join Al-Ahly. Full agreement in place with Porto and Galeno. Al-Ahly have to lose a foreign-born player. Deal is in place with Galeno. So keep an eye on that from the Saudi League. Chelsea, long-standing interest in Evan Ferguson. Chelsea's monitoring. West Ham is pushing. Everybody's interested. All exit options are on the table for Ferguson as long as Brighton's evaluation is met. Yeah, just the road. Just seriously. The Champions League bracket. Give me a break. Okay. Well, all right. Now let's get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo from our friends. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and we'll recap what's going on. I know that Ricky had something that he had when we were discussing what you're looking for the Birmingham match tomorrow, and get those in before we go. It looks like Spurs have agreed to a £50 million deal with Bayern Munich for Matisse Tell. It's from L'Equipe. United aim to sell Garnacho, bring in Tell on loan. So keep an eye on all of this. He would prefer a move to Old Trafford over Arsenal, Chelsea, and Spurs, waiting to see if United's interest is concrete before making a decision. Arsenal have blocked Kieran Tierney from bringing forward a summer move to Celtic. PSG's Marco Asensio, one of a number of attacking players Villa are interested in, four-letter paper. Villa also considering a move for Mateus Cunha. That's from The Guardian. Chelsea and Portugal's João Felix, another target for Unai Emery. Al Hilal have made a super offer. I don't know if that's a super, and this is in quotes, a super offer. I don't know if it's a super offer or a super offer, meaning it's like double XL or something. But they made a super offer, in quotes, to Rodrigo as a replacement for Neymar. Monaco close to an agreement with Ajax on Jordan Henderson. Monaco reluctant to pay a fee, so they want Ajax to terminate his contract so they can sign him on a free. Everton also in line on Evan Ferguson. Chelsea interested in Borussia Dortmund keeper Gregor Kobel, but nothing may happen until the summer. Newcastle have had talks over 18-year-old Spain U19 winger Antonio Cordero over a free when his Malaga contract expires in the summer. Once again, four-letter paper. We mentioned Lancashire. Brighton looks like they might be signing a defender from Derby County. Wrexham have signed Sam Smith. Record deal. Reading striker out the door goes to Wrexham. Premier League and Championship clubs keeping an eye on Camarnie Miller out of Wigan. And that is your gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Okay, so Atlanta United. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. And we'll go over the juice boxes in the Prem before we get out of here. So, all right. Adriana is also now being reported to go to Al Qadsiya in the Saudi Women's Premier League for a $500,000 fee. So once again, keep an eye on all of that. All right, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Now, today, BN, Montpellier, and Lens at 2:45, simulcast on BN and Espanol. You can get all the BNs, Nuestra Tele, CDO, For the Fans, Liga 1 Max Pro, Liga 1, all that on Fanati's, fntz.co/soccer down here. And Caleb Wiley, yes, Emilio is going to get to that too. Looks like Caleb Wiley might be going on loan from Chelsea to to Watford. So Chelsea to Watford for Caleb Wiley. Closer to monitor the recovery of his shoulder injury that he received after he was injured. Played a handful of matches at Strasbourg, got injured, came back, got injured with a shoulder, I think it was a separated shoulder in 45 minutes of play, had to be subbed out, hadn't played since, rehabbing back at Chelsea. And so Strasbourg sent him back to Chelsea, and now it looks like Watford will be getting Caleb Wiley on loan. So keep an eye on that one as well. CBS Sports Network, Blackburn, Preston North End, that's at 3 o'clock. FS2, the U17 Women's Championship, Panama and Cuba. Right now going on, looks like the beginning of the second half of a game involving Al Hilal. ESPN Deportes, 3 o'clock, Spanish La Liga, Leganés and Rayo Vallecano. Also, Fox Deportes simulcasting the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote. ESPN Plus, Bundesliga at 2:20, Bundesliga B at 12:30, La Liga simulcast at 3. Fox Soccer Plus has the CONCACAF U17 championships. 9:30 matches going to be ending. 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, U.S. Virgin Islands, Belize, Trinidad, Tobago, and Honduras. Paramount Plus, 2:45, Parma and Lecce. Remember, that goes back to the Dorgu conversation we were having. Blackburn, Preston North End, and the Champions League and Europa League draws. It frustrated the hell out of everybody. All right, so that's what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Now, juice boxes in the Prem and anything else before we get out of here. Now, let's see. There we go. Hit that and hit that. Now, Fixture Fantasy. 6 matches on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday Night Football. And then they don't come back until the 12th because I think next weekend is FA Cup. Nottingham favored at home against Brighton at a plus 146. Bournemouth, the big underdog at home at a plus 358. Liverpool comes to town at a minus 149. Everton minus 120 hosting Leicester at a plus 350. Ipswich favored against Southampton. This would be a big win for Kieran McKenna in the relegation scrap. Ipswich at plus 102, hosting Southampton at a plus 263. Also 10 o'clock, Newcastle and Fulham. Newcastle minus 143, Fulham at a plus 366. Wolves at 12:30, the late game. A dog at the Molineux hosting Villa at a plus 114, Wolves at plus 229. Sunday, Brentford favored at home at the G-Tech against Spurs at a plus 102. Spurs a plus 225-ish. Manchester United a minus 102 hosting Crystal Palace at a plus 285. Draws a plus 246. Arsenal hosting Manchester City. Manchester City is a plus 282 dog. Draws a plus 256. Look at that one. Arsenal's a minus 105. Chelsea and West Ham. Chelsea Monday night is a plus 278. Minus 278 hosting West Ham, who's a plus 634. Your draw is a plus 447. Now, before we get out of here, once again, broadcast plans for Atlanta United, atlutd.com/live, 4:30 kick, and looking at 4:30 Eastern kick with Mike and Jason, atlutd.com/live. After the match, we are at Monday Night Brewing on 12th Street, I believe. And Maddie and I will start things off there. Tyler's going to be there. Tyler Pilgrim, Scarves and Spikes. Kaylor Hodges from the USL show. Scarf available right there. And also, perhaps, probably, hopefully, some Birmingham Legion folks are going to be hanging out with us there as well. So come by after the match. If you've got some time, if you're staying the night, or we can break up your drive a little bit. So Saturday night at Monday night, SDH and our friends from Monday night are going to be having a blast, and hope that if you make the trip, hope to see you there at Monday night. On Saturday night kickoff about 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 local. So we'll see what happens with the match. Start at 4:30 Eastern time. Hoping to be kicking things off 7:30, might be like 7:45 or so at Monday night in downtown Birmingham. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. Now, Derek says the odds of signing Latte Loth are approximately 3,720 to 1. 3720 to 1. Okay, so, and then where was what Ricky was saying that he was looking for? Hang on just a second. Ricky, in all of his intrepid producing, had a thought about the match. And so it's like, what's the thought about the match? And I think I probably just rocketed past it in the timeline. I wish there was a function where you could sit there and go, somebody said something and you could do a search. Same deal as here we go. Same deal as Chattanooga, young player development, maybe a little cleaner play. And that was why I played the element from the full-time report with me and Maddie and Jason. I want to see more forward play, more forward engagement. Be confident in in who you are as a player. Be confident in the system, and be confident in what they're looking for from you as a player. I know you want to keep possession, and I know that Ronnie Dyla said, I got bored at times. Don't play as much backward. Go forward. Go after it. Those kinds of. I want to see that kind of development. And if there's a shot, take it. But my biggest thing, not as much backward. Continue working forward when it comes to the offense. Miguel Almiron once again being introduced. 3:00 press conference setting. Probably going to be streamed on the YouTube at ATLUTD on Atlanta United's YouTube channel. Probably going to be streamed. That'd be my guess. Keep an eye out on your social medias, all the social meds for that, and we will get you up and running with all that stuff. See you Saturday. Hope to see you Saturday if you're there. We'll run into you and say hi. It'll be great to see everybody there. Hope to see you also at Monday night on Saturday night, and then we'll be back at it again on Monday. Reminder, Tuesday is going to be an SDH PM because I have to take the boss to the doctor to look on the wrist. So we'll see. So Tuesday will be an afternoon show, but more importantly, Miguel Almiron, press conference this afternoon, 3:00 at Mercedes-Benz in a press conference setting. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on with Chris Henderson, with Garth Lagerwey. We'll see how much sleep they've gotten with Ronnie Dyla and with Miguel Almiron, all there for Atlanta United. So it's another week of SDH. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. And after this, once again, always let us know what's on your mind. Let us know what is working in the brain every single time. Don't be afraid to reach out to us on social media. Hit us on all of our social media channels, on the Facebook, the 280 character app, here on Twitch on a daily basis, on the YouTubes, wherever you want to give your comments. Follow me on social media right there at OSG Nelson on the 280 character app. You can follow me and follow Soccer Down here on all the platforms. And you can stay informed on everything going on in the world when it comes to the beautiful sport. And so we'll be back at it again live 9:05 Monday morning, and we will catch up with you then about the weekend. We'll have your highlights, have your post, and all the stuff that's gone on from Birmingham as they head to Bradenton for 10 days to do 3 matches in 10 days and get caught up with the system and what Ronnie Dyla wants to do. So, all right, we're going to go fix Bart's computer and see if his corporate overlords will allow him to speak. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by as you always do. And since it is Friday, that means we get to do this on our way out the door. So play it safe, everybody, and mucha plata, y'all. And you know what? It's a Friday, so enjoy. And let's be careful out there. I got to add that drop with Phil Esterhaus. See you later, everybody.
The war was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress. The streets are ours, be